Welcome back to the Strength for Generations podcast. I am your host, Krista Baker. Now, today we are diving deep into why your solo approach to health might be the very thing keeping you stuck. But before we jump in, I want to make sure you don't miss a single episode of what we're starting today. This is episode 1 of 9. This is a 9-part series called the Beatitudes of Health. Now, over the next 9 episodes, I'm going to show you how each beatitude from Matthew chapter 5 directly applies to the health struggles that keep most people stuck. We're going to talk about emotional eating, stress responses, social pressure, comparison, forgiveness around food, motivation that lasts, building peace in your home around health, and handling criticism when you start making changes. So if you've been struggling with consistency, feeling overwhelmed by conflicting health advice, or wondering how to build sustainable habits that actually stick, this series is going to change everything for you. So make sure you hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss any part of this journey. Because here's the thing, each episode will build on the one before. And by the end of these 9 episodes, you're going to have a complete framework for connecting your faith and your health in a way that transforms not just your body, but your entire family's future. I don't want you to miss out, so make sure you subscribe now. I've been studying and learning a little bit more about the Beatitudes. And before you think I'm about to preach at you, let me be clear. I am not trying to change scripture. I'm not trying to say anything that isn't already there. I'm simply applying scripture to real life health struggles. Because here's what I've noticed after working with hundreds of people by now. The same spiritual postures that draw us closer to God are the exact mindsets that create lasting change in our bodies. And the same pride, isolation, and self-reliance that keeps us distant from Him also keeps us failing in our health. Today, I'm going to show you why trying to lose weight and build strength on your own is actually sabotaging your progress. If you've been struggling with consistency in your healthy diet, feeling frustrated with your nutrition choices, or wondering why you can't stay energized enough to keep up with your strength training, this episode is for you, my friends. I'm going to walk you through the humility shift from the first beatitude that changes everything about how you approach health. And by the end, you'll have a clear roadmap to stop fighting this battle alone and start building the strength your family needs to see. So grab your notebook, maybe your spouse, and let's dive in. Welcome to Strength for Generations, the go-to podcast for Christian families who want to build strength, restore energy, and deepen connection with God at the center. I'm Krista Baker, Christian health coach, wife, mom, and co-founder of Baker Family Fitness. I'm here to help you honor God with your health and bring peace back to the process, to simplify what it means to build strength in your body, renew your mind, and care for your spirit, all without losing precious time with your family. So grab your coffee and your ribeye, and let's do this His way. So I'm going to share a bit of a conversation that I had with a gentleman. Now, this man was from my church, and he reached out to me, and he was completely frustrated. He had told me he'd been watching his weight creep up around his midsection for the past 3 years. His pants were getting tighter, his energy was tanking by mid-afternoon, and he felt like he was constantly running out of time to do anything about it. He had had a gym membership. He had downloaded these nutrition apps that could take pictures of his food. He even set up some weights in his garage for days that he couldn't make it to the gym. And he said to me, he's like, Krista, I really want to get back into shape. I really do. But between work, church commitments, and everything the kids have going on, I feel like I don't have time to figure this out. I keep telling myself I'll start eating better next week, or I'll even get up early to work out. But then life happens and I'm back to grabbing whatever's quick and convenient. And then he said something that really kind of stirred me a bit. He told me he felt like he was failing his family. He told me that his wife had made some comments, that his wife had talked to him about the struggles that she was witnessing within their own home, and some comments that were made by his kids about getting healthier, because he knew that they were watching him but then also not follow through. And that was hurting his heart. And he's like, Krista, I feel like I should be a better leader. I'm supposed to be leading them, but I can't even lead myself. I should be able to figure this out. I mean, it's not rocket science, right? Eat less, move more. but I keep starting and stopping, and I'm more frustrated than when I started. Does this sound familiar, my friends? Maybe you're nodding your head right now because you felt this exact same frustration. Here's what he didn't realize, and what most of us miss completely. He wasn't failing because he lacked willpower or discipline. He wasn't failing because he didn't have time. He was failing because he was trying to build a healthy diet and consistent strength training routine in complete isolation. He was operating from a place of pride, not humility, thinking he should be able to figure this all out on his own because he's the man, he's the leader. He should know how to handle all of this. And that pride was keeping him stuck in cycles of starting and stopping instead of building the sustainable strength his family needed to see. Here's what happened when he finally humbled himself about what he didn't know, when he admitted that maybe, just maybe, he needed guidance. When he stopped trying to figure out nutrition and strength training on his own and started following a clear path. He finally lost the weight around his midsection. His energy climbed, and it lasted all day. It wasn't this fake energy that was just caffeinated. He feels so much clearer about the decisions that he needs to make on a daily basis regarding his health and his nutrition, and not feeling constantly bombarded by the noise of the world. And it's not because he finally got enough willpower. It's because he got humble enough to receive help. So let me teach you about the humility shift that changed everything for him and give you the exact action steps to implement in your own life. This comes directly from the first Beatitude. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now, poor in spirit doesn't mean spiritually bankrupt or weak. It means recognizing your need for help, guidance, and community. In the original Greek, poor in spirit refers to someone who is completely dependent, someone who knows that they can't do it alone. And Jesus said that these people are blessed, not because they're weak, but because they're honest about their limitations. They're humble enough to receive help. They're open to instruction. They're willing to follow a path that someone else has walked before them. So our first action step today is we have to admit your knowledge gaps honestly. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to get out a piece of paper and write down every area of health where you're genuinely confused. Not where you think you should know the answer, but where you honestly don't. Maybe you don't know how much protein you actually need to support your strength training. Maybe you don't understand why your energy crashes every afternoon, even when you eat a healthy diet. Maybe you never learned how to modify exercises when your body feels different than it did 10 years ago. Maybe you don't know how to navigate social situations without derailing your nutrition goals. Maybe you're confused about whether you should do cardio or focus on strength training first. Maybe you don't know how to lose weight around your midsection without feeling hungry all the time. Or maybe you have no idea how to fit workouts into your schedule when you're already stretched so thin. Guys, I want you to write it all down right now. Sometimes it's just word vomit. Let it all out. This isn't admitting failure. This is admitting reality. And reality is a starting point for real change. Here's what I see happening all the time. People pretend they know more than they do because they think they should have it all figured out by now. I actually had two ladies talking beside me just while I was going to pick up one of my daughters. And one of them was like, yeah, I really need to lose some weight. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe it's because I keep drinking. Maybe it's because I haven't really been at the gym, but I'm eating the same. I'm still eating healthy. And then the other lady was like, well, all you got to do is HIIT training and that'll be the best thing for you. And it's so hard for me to not want to say something in situations like that because I genuinely want to help and it's not a judgmental place. It reminds me of how confusing all of this advice is for all of us, including myself. And so we have to make sure that we don't walk around thinking that we know it all. If the plan's not working, then maybe you need to ask for help. Nutrition science has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. Strength training approaches have evolved. What worked for your body in the 20s might not serve you in your 40s. And when I say that nutrition science has changed dramatically, we now know that there's some really deep-rooted things that we've had to study because of how hyper-palatable food is. But in reality, you eat too much food and don't move enough, your body will store body fat. Okay? That's kind of a 101. There's no shame in admitting that you need to learn. There's no shame in pretending that you don't know everything. The most successful people I work with are the ones who say, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm ready to learn. Second action step, choose one path and commit to walking it. Stop collecting nutrition advice and start following one approach. I mean, it's got to be the right approach. The extreme stuff is never going to be the thing that's going to last for a long time, because that's the thing that bounces us in and out of roller coaster ride. So here's what happens when you try to lose weight by combining information from 10 different sources. You end up with this approach that doesn't actually work for anyone. You're doing intermittent fasting from one expert, macro counting from another, and trying to eliminate sugar because a third person said that that's the key. Meanwhile, your strength training is all over the place because you're following different workout philosophies that don't actually complement each other. One day you're doing high intensity intervals, so that's the HIIT training, because someone said that's the best thing for fat loss. That was the advice I heard in the room. And the next day you're doing yoga because someone else said that strength training is too stressful. I hear that one all the time. And then you're trying to lift heavy weights because you heard that builds metabolism, but you're dealing with an injury. None of these approaches are designed to work together if you're not actually doing the thing that's going to help you to move towards your goal. You're constantly second guessing yourself because you're not seeing the results from any of them. A lot of these modalities, they promise these results, but it actually works holistically. It's not one or the other. Everyone's got to move. Everyone's got to build muscle. Everyone's got to create mobility. And then if you have time for all that extra stuff and you want to add it in and you've dialed it on your nutrition, sure, we can find space for them. But you're just kind of overdoing it by being so scattered by all these empty promises and these different platforms where people kind of screaming at you. Now, that was exactly what was happening from the man from our church. He was trying to do keto on weekdays, cheat meals on weekends, and squeeze in whatever workout he could find on YouTube when he had 20 minutes. No wonder he felt overwhelmed and out of control. Choose one nutrition framework that makes sense for your life and your family schedule. The best plan for you is the one that you can adhere to. And obviously, there's certain things that have to happen within that plan. Like, it's a non-negotiable for you to stop eating hyper-palatable foods that just make you want more. So let's just pick one strength training approach that fits your current fitness level and your available time. Don't try to do 1 hour gym workouts if you don't have an extra hour. You're just setting yourself up for failure. But we've got to commit to following both the nutrition and exercise for at least 90 days before you change anything. Ideally, you have a professional oversee that to make sure it's a good plan, because there's a lot of good plans. There's a lot of not so good plans. Okay? We don't need to have all the options. Our power is in walking one path consistently enough to see where it leads. Don't keep trying to just flip-flop from one thing to the other. I'm telling you, I see it all the time. I mean, I got to talk clients off the ledge all the time. I'm like, guys, have we actually done this long enough? Ask yourself, have I hit my macros long enough? If the answer is no, or have I stayed in a deficit long enough? If the answer is no, it's not the plan that's not working. It's the person actually following through or lack of following through on the plan. Okay? Third action step, we're going to build your support team intentionally. This is where most families get it completely wrong. Most people in general. When I say families, I know families look different for everyone. So we think that health is an individual sport, but lasting change happens in community. So if you're married, your spouse needs to be part of this conversation. Not because they have to do exactly what you're doing, but because they need to understand what you're building and why it matters. It's time to sit down together and talk about what health means for your family. Talk about the legacy you want to leave for your children. Talk about the energy you want to have for serving God and loving each other well. Make it a family mission, not a personal project. Find other families who are committed to building strength for generations. It's so important. Join a community where people understand that this isn't about looking good in a swimsuit. This is about having the energy to serve God, lead your family, and build a legacy of health. Ask for help when you need it. Celebrate your progress together. Support each other when motivation drops. The man from our church told me that one of his biggest breakthroughs came when he stopped trying to hide his struggles from his wife. when he actually asked her to help him succeed instead of trying to prove that he could do it alone. And she started supporting his meal prep on Sundays. She encouraged him when he wanted to skip his workouts. She celebrated with him when he started seeing progress. Accountability isn't about someone checking up on you to make sure you're being good. Accountability is about someone walking beside you who understands the journey. And Mike and I talk about this all the time. I mean, I'm so impressed by him. There's days where, he's had a long day and he's like, I got to get out for a walk now, even though I am so done. But if I don't, if I sit down, it's not going to happen after. And he'll try to get me to come with him at times. And I'm more of I get to the gym at 6 a.m. kind of person. And so at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't really have that desire, that extra desire to go. I'm really at that point ready to wind down. And I admire that in him because he doesn't not do it. He knows how important it is for his long-term health, most importantly for his own physical well-being, but promises and commitments that he's made to our family, to showing up and being strong and well. The things that can happen if you don't control your diabetes, you can lose your eyesight, you can lose a limb, you can be kind of a drag because you can't walk and you can't go far and you can't do the things that you can't explore. And he doesn't want to do that to us. And so I admire that in him so much because he's so determined. So I'm going to support him when he goes and does that. I'm not going to be the thing that holds him back. Oh no, you should be here and stay here with me instead. No, that would be very selfish if I did that. And honestly, I see it way too often, friends, husbands and wives doing that. And now, if you're not married, there are other people in your life or the people that you surround yourself by that have impact on you. And so those are the people that we're going to bring into this journey with us. Okay. Now, fourth action step is we're going to focus on building systems, not relying on willpower. Here's the truth about willpower that no one wants to tell you. It runs out every single day. I hear people say to me, oh, I wish I was just more motivated. Don't rely on motivation. I'm going to say it over and over. If your healthy diet depends on you having enough willpower to resist temptation, you're going to fail. Why do you think Jesus talked to us about having a way out? How God does not allow us to be tempted beyond what we can handle. If your strength training depends on you feeling motivated every morning, you're going to quit. Trust me. I get pretty motivated or excited in the morning. I think it's just I've just been disciplined that now it's like my body just does it, Willpower is like a muscle that gets tired with use. But by the end of a long day of making decisions, resisting temptations, and managing stress, you have very little left. And that's why you can eat perfectly all day and then find yourself standing in the kitchen at 9 p.m. eating ice cream straight from the container. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're relying on the wrong resource. Instead, build systems that make the right choices easier than the wrong ones. Meal prep on Sundays, so healthy nutrition is the convenient choice during the week. Schedule your strength training like you would a doctor's appointment. I did that as part of my check-in today. I said to one of the gentlemen who's got a really, really busy life, and I said, all I need you to do is take a look at your calendar and block off 15 minutes 3 times a week that is just for you. And if it means getting up earlier before the kids get up, then that's the time slot. But it has to be put on your schedule as if it's like, this is that mandatory doctor's appointment that I have to go to, or this was the exam that I have to show up for. It's that important. Set up your environment to support your goals instead of fighting against them. Let's start to remove the foods that derail your healthy diet from your house. You just got to create space between you and the thing that you just keep going towards, that your vice. Put your workout clothes where you see them first thing in the morning. I always do that. Well, now Mike gets up at the same time as me, which has been like, thank you, Jesus. This has been the most amazing thing. So I don't have, not that I have to tiptoe around him, but when he didn't do that, I would set my workout clothes outside in the hallway so that I didn't have to come back in and wake him up. We need to create routines that carry you forward even when you don't feel like it. Plan for the obstacles you know are coming. If you know you'll be tempted to skip your workout when it's cold and dark, set up your exercise equipment in your living room or wear a sweater. If you know you'll be tempted to order takeout when you're tired, prep some freezer meals on the weekend. If you know you'll struggle with portion control when you're stressed, pre-portion your snacks in containers. The man from our church figured out that his biggest challenge was lunch. He was grabbing fast food because he didn't have time to go home and he didn't want to pack a lunch every morning. So he started batch cooking proteins on Sunday and he kept them at work, in the fridge at his work. Simple systems equals massive results. And trust me, these systems beat willpower every single time. Okay, our fifth action step, embrace the long game approach. Poor in spirit means releasing control of the timeline. It means trusting that if you do the right thing consistently, the results will come. But you don't get to control when or exactly how. This is probably the hardest part for most people. We live in a culture that promises 30-day transformations and 6-week challenges. But real health, the kind that lasts and builds strength for generations, doesn't happen in 30 days. It's literally something you need to do for the rest of your life. So stop trying to lose weight as fast as possible and start building sustainable strength. We're going to stop looking for the nutrition plan that works in 30 days and starts following the approach that you can maintain for 30 years instead. Okay? Your body is not a project to complete. It's a stewardship to maintain. And stewardship is measured in decades, not weeks. So think about it this way. If you could make small, sustainable changes that improved your health by just 1% each week, where would you be in a year? If you could build strength training habits that just added 5 pounds to your deadlift, where would you be in 2 years? If you could improve your nutrition choices by just 10% each quarter, what would your energy look like by the time your kids graduate high school? The compound effect of small, consistent changes over time is more powerful than any dramatic transformation you can achieve in a month. Remember that man from my church? He didn't lose all of his weight around his midsection in the first month. Actually, his weight didn't really move that much. And he didn't suddenly have boundless energy in 2 weeks. But he trusted the process. He followed the plan consistently. And 8 months later, he's not just healthier, he's built a foundation that will serve him for the rest of his life. So let me recap our 5 action steps right now. First, we're going to admit your knowledge gaps honestly and stop pretending you have it all figured out. Second, we're going to choose one path for nutrition and one path for strength training and commit to both for 90 days. Third, we're going to build a support team that includes your family and a community of like-minded people. Fourth, focus on building systems that make the right choices easier instead of relying on willpower. And fifth, we're going to embrace the long game approach and trust the process over time. When you implement these steps, something amazing happens. You stop fighting the same battles over and over again. You start building momentum that carries you forward. Your healthy diet becomes natural instead of forced. Your strength training becomes consistent instead of sporadic. You feel more energized instead of constantly exhausted. And most importantly, you become the example your family needs to see. You start leading from strength instead of struggle and isolation. So if you're ready to stop trying to figure out your health on your own and start building strength for your family, I have something for you, and it's completely free. It's called the Move Mountains Method, and it's 5 days to honor God with your health. This is not another quick fix or a 30-day challenge. This is about connecting faith and health in a practical way that you can actually sustain. Over 5 days, you're going to learn how to steward your body as an act of worship. You'll discover how to build movement into your life that actually serves your energy instead of depleting it. And you'll simplify nutrition so you can fuel your body with wisdom instead of confusion. You're going to learn how to persevere when motivation drops and life gets busy. And you'll create a health legacy that impacts the next generation. You can head over to my website, bakerfamilyfitness.com/movemountains. And in there, you can sign up for the free training. Day 1, we focus on your why. Day 2, we tackle movement. Day 3, we simplify nutrition. Day 4, we talk about perseverance. And on day 5, we focus on that legacy work. So don't forget, it is free and it's at bakerfamilyfitness.com/movemountains. Now, here's what I want you to remember from today. Blessed are the poor in spirit, Blessed are those who recognize their need for help, guidance, and community. Your health journey was never meant to be a test for your individual willpower. It was meant to be an opportunity to experience God's grace in practical daily ways. When you stop trying to lose weight and build strength alone, everything changes. You stop wasting energy on things that don't work. Now, our next episode, we're diving into the second Beatitude. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. And I'm going to share with you how unresolved emotions and grief are sabotaging your nutrition choices and keeping you stuck in cycles you can't seem to break. But for now, I want to challenge you to take one action step from today's episode. Pick one area you've been trying to figure out on your own. Ask for help. So let me close us in prayer. Father God, thank you for the gift of these bodies you've given us to steward. Help us release the pride that keeps us struggling alone and embrace the humility that leads to lasting change. Give us wisdom to know when to ask for help and courage to follow your path for our health. Show us how to build systems that honor you and serve our families. Help us to trust your timing and your process, even when we can't see the results yet. Strengthen our families and help us build a legacy that honors you. Give us energy to serve you well and love our families with strength. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. And don't forget to keep building strength for generations. Thanks for tuning in to Strength for Generations. If this podcast encouraged you, it would be a blessing if you took a quick minute to leave a 5-star review. It helps more families hear this message and find hope for their health and faith journey. It lights me up to know this podcast is helping you. And if you feel led to share this episode, text it to a friend, post it to your stories, or send it to someone on your heart. God might use it to encourage someone who really needs it today. And don't forget to eat steaks, lift weights, love Jesus, and keep doing it His way.